The original Triplex gym is one of my favorite gyms from all my time importing equipment. This, along with the Ironmaster IM2000, are both extremely old designs that still punch well above their weight. It has everything going for it in terms of gym equipment. It's highly functional. The number of exercises is just massive. The build quality is what you would expect from an ATX machine. They have proven over the years to be extremely durable. It is very compact. When not in use, the bench can be stored upright, and it is only 135 centimeters wide by 125 centimeters deep. And considering all of the above, it is very affordable. Between the ATX, Megatech and Powertec varieties that have been sold through the ages, there would be thousands of people around the world that would share the same passion for these machines that I do. There is a real community of people that own these gyms and share their training information. I would imagine that there would be some people that would not like their leverage gyms. Sadly, for some people, they buy home gym equipment and they're simply not suited to training at home. This would probably be the largest reason for people not liking this gym. To train at home, you need to be self-motivated. You do not need people around to push yourself. Plus, you need to have some ingenuity. You won't have all the equipment that you have at a commercial gym. So you have to improvise with what you have to perform the exercises that you need to do. For the triplex lovers and home gym enthusiasts, this is the favorite part of training at home. There's nothing quite like the feeling of trying a new improvised exercise or variation of one of your favorites and hitting the desired body part. This is what old school weight training was all about. If you do not need a kick in the ass to exercise, and you don't mind a bit of tinkering, then this is a great gym for you. Dr. Mike from Renaissance Periodization favors dumbbells and barbells over kettlebells. They're easier to use, easier to increase weight, and progressively overload the muscles, and offer greater variety.
I will say that almost everything kettlebells do well. Barbells and dumbbells do better. If you really like kettlebells, how they make you feel, how the movement is, there's not a goddamn thing wrong with them. But I would say, like, over-indexing on kettlebells as a first order priority of trying to figure out your fitness, I would say barbells and dumbbells first. Also bodyweight movements, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, things like that are unbelievable. And also machines are great.
This is exactly what the Triplex does. It makes training easier and therefore more enjoyable. Now, I can already hear the Power Rack fans pipe up. Yes, a Power Rack offers the same as above, except I believe that the Triplex is easier to train on. And I acknowledge that the Power Rack is superior for training in terms of athletic performance. But this is the important part of the video. If you're tossing up between this Triplex and some form of free weight alternative, you have to be honest with yourself and about your long-term training goals. Now, look, there is an overload of information out there on training, too much. It's confusing. So sometimes we have people come in with some very complicated training programs and plans. If you are not into serious athletic competition in some form, my advice is to stick to the basics. Before you attempt an elite level program, you must consider this. The most important thing with training is consistency, diet, sleep, and intensity. You need to gradually overload your muscles over time. A massive factor with consistency is making sure you're enjoying your training. Enjoyment comes from making it convenient and adding variety. My advice is that unless you are training for some form of competition, choose the gym equipment that you will enjoy training on. What makes this machine so good? To put it simply, you are getting a quality leverage pressing and rowing station along with a quality lat pull down, all in the same space as what a lat machine would roughly take up when it's stored. The current machine is the result of decades of refinement. The first Powertec Levergym came out in the mid to late 90s. So this triplex is the best balance of between all the features above, but delivered at an affordable price. If you want the fancy extra features, ATX have released a weight stack version, which I've reviewed in a previous video. The tower section of the gym weighs in at 85 kilos. This design has been thoroughly tested in the real world and has proven to last even in smaller gyms and personal training studios, despite being classified as domestic. It is only 210 centimeters high, which makes it an option for people with low ceilings. The lever arms are made out of 60 by 60 mil steel tube and pivot on industrial bearings. They operate independently and feel just as good as some high-end leverage bench press machines that you'd see in the gym. That is what makes these gyms popular. The handles are made from 30 mil tube steel and have knurled grips. Trust me, this is handy instead of using rubber grips like the Powertec machines used. If you needed to replace the grips, it was an absolute bastard to get them on. The grips were long and you had to negotiate these bends. Now the weight you lift on these leverage arms do not translate to a barbell bench press, just like the barbell bench press does not translate to the dumbbell bench press. So don't waste your time trying to figure out some sort of formula. Just focus on increasing your weight or the number of reps or sets on the particular lift. Refer to my points above. If you're eating, sleeping, training consistently with increasing weights or intensity, you are winning. The arms have 11 adjustment positions that are spaced 50 mil apart. You can perform flat, incline, shoulder and decline press, but the lever arms can also be used for all sorts of other exercises. In particular, they are great for rows. Whether it be barbell style, one arm rows or prone rows, they are all fantastic back exercises on this machine. With a bit of imagination, there are other exercises that can be performed. The lever arms are just like a barbell or dumbbell, an implement by which you can apply resistance to your body. Now the lat pull down design is simple, effective and very durable. It is what makes this gym so cost effective. The lever arm pivots on bearings, so it is very smooth, often better than machines that you'll use in the gym also. The downside of the design is related to the limited range of motion. Unlike a traditional lat machine, which has the upright guide rails, a leverage unit is limited by the arc of the lever arm. So if you're really tall, I'm talking over 6'6" around that mark, then you'll have some issues. But you'll have issues with a lot of gym equipment, particularly any multi-function, all-in-one style gym. Even if you are this tall, there are ways around it. Using my favorite wide grip lat pull down bar will use less range. For anyone using this gym, it is important to get your start-stop position correct when using the lat pull down. The gym comes with some chains plus carabiners. Use these to start your exercise so you maximize your potential range. If you do this correctly, you can even do cable side laterals. It might not be a complete full range, but you can make it so that you're operating in the part of the range that really counts. The other issue with the leverage lat pull down design is that it is not a 1-to-1 ratio. Once again, don't bother trying to come up with a formula. Just look at increasing the weight over time. My back of the beer coaster guesstimation would be that it is somewhere between 70 to 80% of the actual weight lifted. Now, given that the lat pull down is rated for 160 kilos, that should be enough for most people. Now here's a video of Big Ivan doing 160 kilos on a Powertec machine I filmed in about 2008. For seated rows, people have DIY'd all sorts of foot stoppers for seated rows sitting on the floor. At that height, it is almost a mid-row. However, the easiest way to do seated row is simply by having the bench on decline. You can rest your feet either on the base of the bench or on the lever arms. Since you are on an angle, you have to adjust your body position. You don't use the same form as if you're doing a row when you're perfectly flat. Once you get used to the way of doing it, it is actually better in many ways. The angle makes it almost a bent over row, so the back is isolated nicely. Finally, the oversized foot plate stabilizes the machine when the bench is not in use. It has these handy little notches so you can line up your bench square. Now there's a story behind this foot plate which will give you an indication of my obsession with these machines. Now, the 2010 Powertec Levergym was the first machine to be released without the bench attached to the machine. Prior to this model, the Powertec gyms had the bench attached to the base of the tower. You would swivel it at a 90-degree angle if you wanted to perform squats or use the lower pulley for cable bicep curls, for example. Now, this was the first leverage gym that Powertec released after they made their change in management. When I first got the gym, I noticed that there were some major stability issues. Now, the new management were not familiar with the equipment and were adamant that the gym was okay. But in footage that I've never shown, I only showed it to Powertec management, you can see that there were some pretty major stability issues. As you can see, as you're lifting off, it's just, if someone's fatigued after a heavy set, this is going to tip onto it. And as I said, we had to prop that up. If I take that away, it starts lifting. You know, it's going to topple down. This thing will fold up like tin foil. So it needs to be looked at. Thanks. Ultimately, the gym had to be withdrawn from sale, and they released a kit that went with the gym that fixed the issue and made it stable. Back then, I only sold Powertec and Ironmaster, so the leverage gym was a big part of my sales. So not having these gyms really impacted my business, so I got to work on that revision kit. I offered Powertec two solutions: an oversized foot plate, which I got fabricated over here for myself to test. Ironically, it was a lot like the Triplex one that is here today. The other option was that I suggested to use the foot plate similar to the Ironmaster IM2000. Here is my mock-up. Powertec got me to fly over to their factory and I helped make the changes for them. Now, this foot plate design is still being used on the Powertec Levergym today. Powertec did not pay for my time or my airfares. I did all this because I wanted to make my favorite gym even better. Now, the final part of the gym is the bench. I keep promising that I'll do a complete review of the bench. Now, the reason I haven't done one is because they keep selling out, which I'm sorry for. We've got more coming, but I will get to it. The quality of this bench is just amazing. Compared to the previous version, which was a really good bench, you can see visually that it has many improvements. But this gym is exactly what this bench was designed for: performing shoulder press with a backrest. Now, I begged ATX to sell the bench separately, but they insisted on selling it in a bundle. Using other benches can make the training experience ordinary, especially for incline press. that could really leave a bitter taste in the customer's mouth and really turn them off the gym in a big way. So I sort of can understand why they insist on selling the gym with the MBX 650. After all, this bench has been specifically designed to use with this gym. Now, the main downside for the Triplex as a multi-gym is leg exercises. The gym does come with a straight bar that can be used for squat, lunges, close grip bench presses. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't really done squats a lot on this version of the Triplex. The squat bar that came with the Powertec gyms was better for squats. When the gym was attached to the bench, you used to sit down on the bench to start the exercise. This partially overcame one of the issues with this particular squat exercise, the fact that you have to start from the bottom of the range of motion. By using the bench, it was sort of like a box squat. The other trick that we used to do was you'd always do more than 20 reps and keep continuous tension. Now, this was actually a legit exercise and it could seriously destroy your quads. Plus, it was great cardio. However, the issue with the Powertec squat bar was that it used a pop pin that was welded into the squat bar. If you did not know how to use it properly, you could easily thread the shaft of the pin. Plus, that particular squat bar would have been a lot more expensive to manufacture than the ATX basic design. Not many people really use the squat, so I understand why ATX chose their design. The money that is saved that can be invested in the leg extension attachment. This way you get 2 fair income leg exercises. Plus, if I was tight on space and money, my new favorite leg exercise is deadlifts with the ATX compact trap bar. Throw in some lunges, step ups, dumbbell style squats with weight plates. So you could still get a decent leg workout with a bit of imagination and not a lot of extra equipment with this gym. In my opinion, this gym is nearly for everyone. If you need serious athletic performance or want to do powerlifting, then get a power rack. If you like barbell exercises over machines, then get a power rack. But if you just want to lift some weights, build some muscle, get stronger, then this is a great gym for you. It is perfect for beginners and the best way to get your kids into training. The exercises are so easy to pick up and there aren't the same safety issues that are involved when using a barbell. For advanced trainers, say if you're a power lifter and you currently only have a power rack and you're looking to do some accessory work, then you'll be hard pressed finding a machine that offers as many quality exercises in such a compact footprint. Alternatively, if you're just starting your home gym build, it is a great starter piece. Personally, I could train on this machine alone forever. But if you want to expand your gym, there are so many paths you can take once you have this. Now, the Ironmaster Quick Lock dumbbells, in my opinion, are made for this gym. If you're tight on space, which is why you most likely go for the gym, this combo is deadly. This also addresses the, but it's not free weight and you won't work your stabilizers, people. Or if you want to do more leg work, you can pick up your favorite leg machine. The compact leg press is perfect for tighter spaces with this gym. Alternatively, if you do want to get some barbell work in, you can just get some squat stands, half rack, power rack, depending on your space. Now, whichever path you choose, you won't outgrow the Triplex. It doesn't become redundant. Now, finally, I would just like to address the issue of stealing the design. On the weight stack Triplex video, someone spammed comments about ATX stealing the design from Powertec. I've addressed the fallout between ATX and Powertec in the past, but in this specific case, if you ask the bloke who designed this amazing gym, Ken Dezmalski, if you asked him who stole the design, I'm pretty sure he would not say it was our ATX. Ken was punted in the Powertec management change, and I can only imagine how that made him feel. Like all partnership breakups, I'm sure there was blame on either side. I was not privy to what went down, so I won't comment on it. However, Ken was a prolific designer, and I recently wrote to him. Now that the dust has settled, I got the impression that Ken is extremely proud of his career, and rightly so. In his own words, it was a great ride and I would not change a thing. Designing gym equipment was his passion, so I reckon he'd be pretty proud to see his design work still kicking around the world all these years later, no matter if it's Powertec or ATX. Now here's a photo of Mark from Brisbane. He sent me a picture of the weight stack version that Powertec was working on in the early 2000s. Mark was working at the factory for Powertec at the time. This is the best photo I could find of the finished product. I had a better one on an old computer. It is really hard to find images of these old gyms on the internet now. So if you have any of them, please send them through and I'll keep them up on my site for all of us. So how cool must it be for Ken to see the new ATX weight stack version come out 20 years later? Talk about being ahead of the times. So this video just sort of obviously shares my passion for the gym, but also gives you an insight of the story behind it and how people from all around the world have influenced the design of this finished product.